Good morning to all of you. Welcome back to the Namaste experience on this beautiful Thursday morning. As you can see, I am back. I am here. I am here where I have always been, right? Right here. Maybe not right here, but right here. Did you get it? Like wherever I am, that's where I am. It doesn't matter where I am, only that I am where I am. I've never thought of that before, but that's kind of nifty, isn't it? Wherever I am, that's where I will find who I am. If I'm conscious of the I amness of being I am, I think I'm getting lost now. But I think you get it. It's right here, right now, in this moment. No other moment, no other place, just right here, right now. So I I want to talk a little bit about that. And this plays into the song we just heard. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, we just listened to a song I recorded a year or so ago called God Is. And that's enough. That's the experience that we talk about here every day. When we come into the experience of that simple reality that God is present right here, right now. That's all you need. That's enough. Trying to add more to everything, that's where we get in trouble, isn't it? Trying to add more to the entire fullness of reality itself. It means that something can be lacking within eternity. And this is when we start going down that insane highway. You can see the exit of insane highway north, insane highway south. Okay, let's take north. We can just get on that insane highway and start heading north to the head that doesn't let us. There are no exits once you get on the insane highway. Well, there is, and the exit is always there if we just realize how insane this idea is of adding more to that which is eternal, that which is whole. It seems like such a strange idea, but it's what we in our egoic mind are constantly trying to achieve, to add to that which is whole, or to subtract, to be less than. All of these things, instead of just being present with the experience of God is, and that's enough. So last night I got back to Namaste Village about 10:30, and I was watching a little movie on my current favorite Hindu saint that I've been talking about a lot lately, Anandamaya Ma. And just the radiance that I and everyone experienced from her, just from her gaze. You can even see it in these very, very old videos because she left her body, I think, in the 60s or 70s, 80s. But still, the radiance from that devotion to love. It's like there's nothing there but that love, right? And and so I was watching these videos when suddenly something came to me that I wanted to share. So I'm going to go ahead and put something up here onto the screen so that you can all read this with me. Okay, here we go. So this is called Heaven is Now. When else would it be? Then, when? Someday? After I've done whatever it is I think I need to do? No, heaven is right here, right now. So let me read this slowly and you can read along. Everything you see in this world will ultimately, in the end, fall apart, collapse, and die. That's a very positive beginning, isn't it? Wow, like right into it. Everything you see in this world will ultimately, in the end, fall apart, collapse, and die. Everything. Why? Because that's what it's designed to do. Why expect something other than the truth? Why expect something more than what something was made to do? Everything that you see, everything in this physical world will collapse. Deny this, and you're only denying yourself with a capital S. You're denying who you really are, or the reality that is loved by God, which can never fall apart, the reality that can never collapse, the reality that can never die. That's who you are. When we stop trying to add more to everything, but just allow the divine impulse to be present everywhere I look. The temporal can never be eternal, and the eternal can never be reduced to the temporal. So why spend your time propping up that which is here today and gone tomorrow, when you could instead just open your eyes and see the changeless reality that is your foundation and home, the changeless reality that is your foundation and your home. So open your eyes and see. That's all. Just open your eyes. This is the only thing that's being asked of you. I like this next line. Someone who wears a blindfold is not blind. Isn't that interesting? Someone who's wearing a blindfold, who can't see because they're wearing a blindfold, isn't blind. They choose to ignore that which is directly in front of them. Stop denying that which could never deny you. Take off the blindfold. Do you see how simple the answer is? Once again, I love this line. Stop denying that which could never deny you, the truth of who you are now and always. Why do we wear that blindfold, by the way? There has to be a reason. Fear, guilt. We're afraid of what the consequences might be of putting on the blindfold, right? Is there some punishment? Is there something waiting for us because we denied that which was right in front of us? That's what we think, but it's not true. Just take off the blindfold. We're going to see in a moment just how easy that can be. So let's go on. The claim that it takes effort or time to let go of nothing is nonsense. Isn't that funny? The claim that we all make that it takes time, it takes effort to get from where I am now into that enlightened state. That's nonsense. You're letting go of nothing. Letting go of nothing is easy when you realize that it's nothing. So, or that it has no value. So turn your gaze toward that which has eternal value, then follow wherever the movement of grace leads you. Just turn toward that which is eternal and let grace take you. It will lead you from the unreal to the real and from darkness into the light of day. But you have to be willing to open your eyes so that you can see the light. You have to be willing to take off that self-imposed blindfold that denies the light. You have to be willing to open your heart so that you can feel the movement of grace within you. Otherwise, you'll keep spinning inside a tiny little circle, thinking you're going somewhere important. You're not. You're not going anywhere if you're spinning in a circle. You can run real fast in a circle, but you're not going anywhere. That's the perceptual mind. It knows that if it holds still, reality will collapse in all around you. Love will be fully present within you. The light will break through all the shadows if you hold still. So the ego wants to keep you spinning. I want this, I want that, something else comes along, I'll put my focus on that. Instead of just holding still and saying, what? God is. And that's enough. The only important place is where you stand, for heaven is everywhere you are now. Where you were then or where you might be when has no value, but the heaven where you stand now is beyond any comparison. So open your eyes and see. Take off the blindfold and see. It's right there. It doesn't take any time. It doesn't even take any effort. In fact, imagine the effort that it takes to not see that which is right in front of you. It takes enormous effort. Do you realize that? Do you realize how much stress it takes for you to hold back the tide of reality itself? You've heard me talk about when I used to live on a floating house on the Columbia River, and I had my little paddle board there on my deck. Because my front yard was the river, I would just take it, I would put it in the river, and I would paddle upstream. And it took great effort because I was going against the current. I would paddle for about a half hour until my arms burned. And then I would just stop and sit down. And what would happen? The paddleboard would turn itself around and be pulled without effort back home, back to my house. It was wonderful. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We've realized the futility of paddling upstream. How many of you have finally gotten to that point? No more paddling upstream. No, some days we do forget now and then, and we find ourselves, why is it so hard? You're paddling upstream. Just turn the paddleboard around and float. It will take you to where you've always been. It will take you to where you have always been, heaven itself. The heaven you never left except in your imagination. So there you go. That's how simple this is. Now, it may seem for a moment like it takes time. It may seem for a moment that it takes effort, but just let all those ideas go. Just sit down on your paddleboard and come home. So, Vicky, I would love to hear from you. What would you like to share about paddling upstream and then floating right back home?
Well, thank you, Brother James. As a fellow paddler, I've given up my paddles and I'm grateful, ever so grateful. And what does it mean to open our eyes and see? What does it mean? How does that translate? And it translates so simply because it just translates into open my eyes and love, open my eyes and see what's in front of me and love it, join with it, bless it, welcome it. I'm sitting here at big kitchen table and I have all these ferns of dried fresh mint. And they come from Teddy and Alicia, my son, Teddy and Alicia's front garden. And I grew up with my dad always having a mint garden on the side of the house. And all the time, the big dining room table was full of mint stalks like this, all drying. And I realized what love it took and what love I'm experiencing and having these little mint leaves sitting here, drying out. And all I'm going to do is, skim them off and make lots of salad and stuff out of them. But the love that is already there, that I get to appreciate by just opening my eyes and see the love that got these to this kitchen table, from Teddy's house to here, the experience of growing up with them from Louie in the dining room to today. Heaven has always been right here, and it's always full of love. Everything we do can be expressions of love if we want it to be. And the only time we don't want it to be is when we're paddling upstream. That's when we're making some effort. When we simply give of ourselves to each other or to whoever's in front of us, when we simply pay attention, that's giving of ourselves. When we gaze with a love that sees the spirit of a brother or a sister or a cat or a dog and appreciates it, that's love. That's heaven right here, right now. It's almost so simple we keep missing it. It isn't anything else we have to learn. There's no heavy, serious inner work. The work of removing the blocks to love's presence will come into our awareness by grace. We don't have to go excavating for it. We don't have to spend our lives digging for it. If there's something blocking that natural flow of love giving of itself, it will show up, and we'll have a moment to look at it and to change our minds about it, to not judge it, to not judge ourselves, to not judge anything about it, simply to be open with wonder and willing to ask, what does this mean? Instead of putting a damnation on some situation that's a reflection of who we are. No more damning ourselves. That time is over. And the time of heaven on earth isn't later. It really is today. This morning, my cousin, some of you know, I talk about my cousin Vicky. She's 90 years old and she's a hot chicken. And she recently moved into a living situation, in community. And it's so funny. Now she's 90. She's never been happier. She calls me and tells me, oh my God, I can't believe this. And she went with clenched teeth and resisting. And she lands there and she opens up her little door from her room, her little apartment. And there's always a brother, a sister, someone to talk to. And she's so happy. But this morning she called me in tears of gratitude. And she said, you won't believe what happened. And I said, Vicky, what happened? Your friend Jody, so some of you know Jody and Rod. They live in Bangor, Maine, where my cousin Vicky lives, and they kind of have adopted Vicky. And she is so appreciative of their attention and their time. And Jody gave her a gift of some money or a gift of something. Vicky was literally in tears. She said, I can't believe this little girl who I don't even know, who isn't my family, treats me like I'm her family. That's what happens. My 90-year-old little cousin, sitting there all dressed up in her high heels still, and all kinds of fancy boas and clothes, is in rapture and in grace and in tears for someone that in her life only family treated each other that way. Who would give a stranger or someone they hardly knew gifts of money, gifts of candles and lights and flowers and all kinds of things, whole birthday parties for them? But that's what we do. Jesus said, ye shall know them by their love. You want to know a follower of the light, you'll know them by their love. And don't worry about anyone else. Just be that ourselves. That's all I really, every day, please show me how to love today, how to give fully. Halfway measures mean nothing. And that's for today. The heaven that we look for isn't anything but taking off the blindfold, like you said, James. It's just taking off the blindfold of self-decision, self-planning, self-will, all that stuff. When we take it off and we're childlike and we open and we receive and we love wholly, that's what supply is. It's our giving of ourselves wholly to whatever situation we are graced to be in, not looking for it to be better or different, but taking the one we're in and filling it with every bit of love and attention and happiness and gratitude that we have. And Vicky left me still crying on the phone, saying, I don't know what else to do but call you and tell you how grateful I am, because I don't know what to do with this. And I said, oh, Vicky, just go give it away. Just go be yourself. Go shine wherever you are and go sing for somebody. She sings. But that's what we are. What a perfect little picture it was this morning of on earth as it is in heaven. Let that time be now for each one of us. Our time of dreaming up all kinds of schemes and things and doings, it's over. We can applaud ourselves for being good actors on the stage, but that's it. It's done. It brought us to today where we can look with love and be in a full supply of love every day. Don't worry about any lack of anything, or if it's people, if it's animals, if it's plants in front of you. Just love it with all your heart. That's the action, the activity of love and heaven extending itself right here where we are. There's no later time to do it, and there's no more that can happen. Here, where we are now, is the fullness of it. God's love is always maximal, and we are that. We're not part of it, we're all of it. And so is everything else. Okay, Brother James, that's my 2 bits for today. Thank you. I
That
love
may have
you.
been 3 or 4 bits. We're so
Okay.
grateful. Thank you, Vicky. Maximum grace. Maximum grace. That's what we're here for. And let's just keep giving it away. If you want to enjoy it, give it away. As you said to your cousin, just go shine your light for everyone to see. Give maximum love in every moment, and everything else will happen effortlessly. That's all we need to remember. Take the blindfold off and love everybody. Can we make it any more simple than that? I don't think so. All we can do, though, is say together, Amen, 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 y punto. And so it is. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed day. We'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.
Thank you.
Love you.